Well, good afternoon, monsters. How are you all doing? Are you well? Send me a message. Tell me how you're doing. Um, I wanted to get another chapter out to you quite quickly because I was a little bit stuck with things last week. Oops. So in chapter 16, um, what we learned was that they got stuck in the rocking land for a while, and that did not seem like a good thing. You just rocking and rolling and rocking. Oh, I think I'd feel a bit sick. But so they managed to escape from there, but only just. So this is chapter 17, an invitation from Moonface and Silky. Nobody had really enjoyed their visit to the rocking land, which had been a mistake anyhow. They sat in Moonface's house, untying their cushions from their backs and fronts and looking at all the bruises they had got. "What on earth shall we do with these cushions?" said Beth. "Moonface could do with them, I expect," said Franny. "He uses a lot for his slippery slip, don't you, Moonface?" "Yes, they'll do very well," his big face beaming joyfully. "Some of mine are getting very old and worn. We can possibly give them back to that cross old woman in the rocking land. So we can't possibly give them back to the cross old woman in the rocking land, so we may as well put them to some use here." "Right," said Joe as he handed Moonface his two cushions. Everyone else did the same. Moonface was pleased. He poured lemonade for everybody and then handed round a little box of what looked like all sorts of toffee. "I don't feel as if I ever want to go to see what land is at the top of that faraway tree again," said Joe as he munched a peculiar piece of toffee, which seemed to get bigger in his mouth instead of smaller. "Neither do I," said Beth. "I certainly never will," said Franny. "It seems as if there are never any lands worth visiting. They're all most uncomfortable." "Except for my little land," said Saucepan Man rather mournfully, "where I was always very comfortable there." Joe's toffee was now so big that he couldn't say anything. It suddenly then exploded in his mouth and went into nothing and left him feeling most astonished. "Oh dear, did you take a toffee shock?" said Moonface, noticing Joe's surprised face. "I'm so sorry. Take a different one." "No, thank you," said Joe, feeling that one toffee shock was quite enough. "I think we'd really better get going. It must be getting late." "What's going to happen to the old Saucepan Man now that he's lost his land?" asked Beth, picking up a yellow cushion ready to slide down the tree. "Oh, he'll live with Mr. What's-his-name," said Moonface. "Hello, he's taken a toffee shock." "He's taken a toffee shock by mistake. Oh, do watch him." They all watched. The Saucepan Man's toffee shock had got enormous and was about to explode. It did, and it went back down to nothing again in his mouth. The Saucepan Man blinked his eyes and looked so astonished that everybody shouted with laughter. "That was a toffee shock you were eating," said Moonface. "A coffee clock," said Saucepan Man, even more surprised. "Dearie me." "Come on," said Beth, giggling away. "It's time we went. See you another day, Moonface. Goodbye, Saucepan Man." She shot off down the slide and round round and round, along the slide and out of the trapdoor at the bottom. Then Franny slid off, and then Joe. "Goodbye," he called. "Goodbye." Mother was astonished to see their bruises. "Whatever have you been doing? I shan't let you play with the Saucepan Man again if you come home like this. And how dirty your clothes are." Joe longed to tell Mother about the rocking land and their adventure there, but he felt sure she would think he was making it all up, so he said nothing and went off to change his dirty clothes. Things didn't go very well for the next week. Father lost some money one night, and Mother couldn't get very much washing to do, so money was very scarce, and the children didn't have much to eat, as much to eat as they would have liked. "If only we could have a few hens," sighed Mother. "That would at least give us eggs to eat, and a little goat would give us milk." "And what I want is a new garden shovel," said Father. "Mine broke yesterday, and I can't get on with the garden. It's very important that we should grow as many vegetables as possible, for we can't afford to buy them." To make things worse, their father was very cross with them for having spoilt their clothes that day that they had gone off with the Saucepan Man. If that's the way you treat the only nice clothes you have, you will have to stay at home and not go out at all, he scolded. Oh gosh, he is cross, isn't he? The children didn't like being scolded, and Beth mended their clothes as nicely as she could. 2 weeks went by, and the children hadn't even had 2 hours to themselves to go and see Moonface. He'll be wondering what's happened to us, said Franny. Moonface certainly was wondering. He waited each day and each night to see the children, and he and Silky wondered what the matter was. We'll send the barn owl with a note to tell the children to come quickly, Silky said at last. So she slipped away from the faraway tree to the hole where the barn owl lived. She knocked at his door and he pecked it open. What is it? He asked in a hoarse voice. Oh, Barney dear, will you take this note to the children at the little cottage over by the wood? She asked in her sweetest voice. You're going out hunting tonight, aren't you? Yes, said the barn owl. He took the note in one of his great clawed feet. I'll take it. He slammed the door shut behind him and rose into the air on great creamy wings, as silent as the wind. He flew to the children's cottage. They were in bed, asleep. Barney sat on the tree outside and screeched loudly. The children woke up startled. Whatever's that? Said Beth. Joe came in the room. Did you hear that? He asked. Whatever could it be? The barn owl screeched again. He certainly had a dreadful voice. The children jumped. Joe went bravely over to the window and looked out. Is anyone being hurt? He called. Me! Screeched the owl, and Joe nearly fell out the window with a fright. The barn owl spread his great soft wings and flew to Joe. He dropped the note onto the windowsill, screeched again, and flew off into the night to look for mice and rats. Oh, it was a barn owl, said Joe. It's left a note. Quickly, turn your bedside lamp on and see what the letter says. They turned the lamp on and crowded round the note, and this is what it said. Dear Joe, Beth and Franny, why don't you come to see us? Are you upset? Please come soon, because there's a wonderful land at the top of the tree now. It's the land of take what you want. If you want anything, you can usually get it there for nothing. Do come and we'll all go. We'll all go together. Love from Moonface and Silky. Here, you can see the letter. Can you read it? Cool, hey? Ooh, said Franny, excited. The land of take what you want. Well, I'd like to get a few hens. And I'd like to get a goat, said Beth. And I'd like a new shovel for father, said Joe. But then he frowned. I'd quite made my mind up not to go any more to those strange lands, he said. You just never know what might happen there. We better not go. Oh, Joe, cried Beth, please let's go. After all, if there is a nice land, we might as well visit it. Shh, you'll wake Mother, said Joe. We'll see tomorrow what happens. If we can get some time to ourselves, we'll go and ask Moonface if the land is really safe to go to. Now, we'd better get to bed and sleep. But they didn't sleep much. No, they were all wondering what the land of take what you want was like, and if they were really going to visit it tomorrow. That's the end of the chapter. So my question for you today is, if you went to the land of take what you want, and you were allowed to have 3 things from that land, what would those things be? You can send me a message or draw me a picture, and I will catch up with you soon for your next chapter. Hope you guys are having a great week. Love you loads, miss you loads, and hope you're behaving yourselves, right? No naughtiness, children. I'll see you soon. Love you guys.